Hey, Jeff Garber, mortgage expert, wanted to bring you a market update. So much going on. I know it's been a little while, but yesterday, if you're watching this, November 2nd, so Wednesday, November 2nd was Fed Day. And boy, did they rattle the market. So every 6 weeks, the Federal Reserve comes out with their interest rate and policy statement, and then they have a press conference afterwards. And so we all know that the Fed has been raising rates, and they're doing that on purpose. The reason why they're raising rates was they're trying to slow the economy down. And when the economy slows down, typically inflation will slow with it. And when inflation comes down, then typically mortgage rates will come down. And so we've been in a very aggressive rate hike cycle this whole year. And we knew we were going to get a 0.75 point rate hike in this meeting, and we did. And that wasn't the unexpected part. The unexpected part was when the Fed chair made his statement, it was actually very friendly. It was very much what we wanted to hear. He hinted that, hey, we get it. We understand what's going on. We might not be hiking rates as much anymore. In fact, maybe soon this will come to an end. And, all the markets are waiting for that to happen. Then the press conference comes and he completely reversed everything he said in his statement. And now he proved to the markets that he has no idea what he's talking about. Because markets like certainty. They don't like confusion. And our Fed just confused the heck out of the market. So let's talk about how that affects mortgage rates and what we can expect coming forward. Let me get myself out of the way here. So what you're looking at now is the bond market. And inside the bond market, mortgages are traded every day. They're called mortgage-backed securities. And they trade every day while the bond market is going. And the way the bond market works is as price goes up, or as you see the pattern going up here, that means rate or yield is coming down. And as price comes down, then rate goes up. So if you look at yesterday, we had a crazy day. At first, the market really liked it, and we were all the way up here. And then they had the Fed press conference, and he went and pretty much reversed almost everything he said, and we had sold off. And then today, the sell-off continues. We were actually all the way down here and have since rebounded. So there's a lot of uncertainty right now. But here's one thing we know. Rates today are higher than they were yesterday. You can clearly see that. And if you go back to October 27th, you're starting to see this pattern again where rates are going up. Now, the all-time high for rates that we've had so far was on October 13th, 2022. We had this real ugly day, but believe it or not, it actually bounced all the way back and closed up here. And this is a pretty big movement in rate. This is a very large movement. And then we kind of went sideways a little bit, and then we kind of sold off, and we retested on October 21st. But then look, we started to have a nice little run where rates were, starting to stabilize and come down a little bit, because maybe we thought that we're getting close to the end of these Fed hikes. You can see the uncertainty here, and then now you can clearly start to see this downward trend again. And that is due to the uncertainty in the Federal Reserve. So had the Fed kept with his policy statement and left it alone there, we could have started our march back up towards this and maybe started to see a recovery in rates. Now, we got by the Fed, not the end of the world. We're not majorly worse than we were, but this could have been a lot better. Now, Friday, first Friday of every month, is a jobs report. So on Friday, November 4th, we're going to get jobs report and the unemployment number, and that's going to move the markets a bit. And then next week on the 10th, we're going to get the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. And the CPI is a major measurement of inflation. And there's a chance, we're not sure, but there's a chance that this might be one of the first readings that maybe flattens out or even comes in lower. And if that's the case, that could be good news, because we know the Fed is watching that. And we feel that as soon as inflation starts to moderate, that the Fed will say, okay, we're starting to see our Fed hikes take effect and work. And when that happens, maybe they'll change their policy stance. We have another Fed meeting in 6 weeks, which is December, another probably 50 basis point rate hike, we think. But maybe he'll signal that maybe that's the end of the rate hikes, or that they're going to slow them down, or that we see some optimism. And if that's the case, we can turn the corner going into 2023, knowing that we're starting to get inflation under control. And if inflation can get under control, mortgage rates typically will come down with inflation. And in a perfect world, if each month in the new year is showing, a decrease in inflation and rates can come down a little bit, we might get more buyers off the fences and we might get back to a market where we unfortunately have low inventory and more buyers. But again, look, we'll have some action. So there is a chance that it could play out like that at some point in 2023. We don't have the crystal ball, but we can look at history because we've been here before with inflation. We've seen this. We've seen the Fed hikes. We've seen Fed hikes reduce inflation. We've seen mortgage rates come down when inflation comes down. We see typically a recession because the economy has slowed so much. We expect that we're either in one or possibly could have one at some point. But this is all normal and again, what we're expecting. So I wanted to give you an update on what's going on. We kind of dodged a bullet with an uncertain Fed, meaning rates could have really fell off a cliff and got a lot worse than they did. There's a little bit of uncertainty. The markets are trying to digest, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel if you understand how this works. And what I'll do is next week, after the CPI comes out, I will let everybody know how the inflation number did and if we're inching closer to a potential end in the Fed hikes, because the stock market's going to like that, and that could signify the beginning to the end of the mess that we're kind of going through right now. So I will keep these coming. Hope you're having a great day, and I will catch up with you soon.